show going. Welcome back to the Zipmouth Motivation show, where we don't sugarcoat. We don't sugarcoat on the show at all. So I want you to, if you're a person that get offended, and not offended by mean things, but just offended by love and real love, and that's going to be truthful, this is not a show for you. Please keep scrolling or keep going. But we don't sugarcoat here. We don't water down the truth. And we don't confuse comfort with healing. Because I don't know, like I just told my TikTok family, I just told them, like, y'all, I'm on some kind of hiatus today. Like, I'm getting frustrated with people. If this is your first time tapping into this, remember, Zipmouth Motivation is not here to make you feel good. We're here to help you grow, because that's what it's about. It's about growing and getting to that next level and being able to strengthen yourself, like from the outside in. Or from the inside out, being able to do that. If this is your first time tapping in, just remember, like I said, we are not here to make you feel good, but we are here to help you grow. Today's conversation is for people who say, I'm healing, I'm protecting my peace, I'm practicing self-love, but somehow nothing is changing. And so it's so crazy that, like while I was doing my notes, I was thinking about like some courses and some classes that I wanted to do. And so one of the classes that I really, really want to do is I want to do a class on self-love, but I want to do a class on how can you learn self-love if you don't love yourself. And I think that people forget that part of, we be teaching like self-love, self-love, self-love. But then we look at ourselves in the mirror and feel disgusted. Or we don't feel confident enough to go out somewhere in front of people or take pictures or just the little things. So we're going to tap into a lot of stuff today. And like I said, this show is to help you grow. Not to make you feel bad, but to help you get to that next level so that you can be a better you, because I know you can be a better you. I believe that you can be a better you. Sometimes it just takes one breaking it down. Let me say this clearly. Self-love without accountability is self-deception. So that is the title of the show. Self-love without accountability is self-deception. And today we're going to unpack why it is self-deception. Self-love used to, because sometimes we use things so much that we start watering them down or we start forgetting what they truly mean. Self-love means respecting yourself, choosing better, and breaking harmful cycles. So when I said that, right, I want y'all to think about everybody that's like, self-love, I love myself, self-love, I love myself. But I want you to look at the qualities. Are they respecting themselves? Are they choosing better? And are they breaking harmful cycles? Because now they have to switch self-love into something else. Now self-love is avoidance, inconsistencies, procrastination, and lack of discipline. And I want you to really think about it. I posted something on the book the other day. And so I posted on there basically asking people, how many things are you lying to yourself about? Like, how many things are you saying, like, I'm protecting my peace, but it's really a lie. You just building walls and not tearing them down. Or you're making excuses for behaviors, avoidance. Or you're showing up late to things and you're saying like, well, like I don't believe in time. And I'm talking to myself too. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't believe in time. Or you can go to the next level, or there's something that you need to do to take you to the next level, but you're procrastinating about doing it. And the biggest one I feel like is lack of discipline. And so if you're not like, we expect people to be so disciplined with us and so on point with us, but then we're not that way with ourselves. So how does that happen? Like, where does that concept of that's you loving yourself? So that's why I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this show tonight, and I'm going to title it Self-Love Without Accountability is Self-Deception. People say, I'm just giving myself grace. What does that even mean? Or they'll say, I don't want to force anything. I think that's the biggest one. I don't know how many times I hear people say, I don't want to force anything. But think about it, right? If you wait for opportunities to come to you, you're never going to get the opportunity. I teach my clients, kick in the door. Like, kick in the door. Don't go knocking on the door. Kick in the door. Because if you want something, you have to go and get it. So what are you giving yourself grace for now? And what is it that you don't want to force? Because sometimes, like, even when you're doing things, you have to peel back layer after layer after layer after layer. And sometimes it causes you to force through. And that's another perception. And then another thing people will say is, I'm honoring where I am right now. Now, y'all know I'm spiritual. So us spiritual people, we big on like, I'm living in the moment. I'm living in the now. I'm living right here. And we do that. We literally do that. But wait a minute, though. Because are we manifesting it at the same time, though? Are we saying like, okay, I want to do this. I'm manifesting for hours. I'm fasting for hours. I'm outside and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing that. Then I'm honoring where I am. Are you really honoring where you are right now? Or are you making an excuse? Are you procrastinating? Or are you displaying that lack of discipline and hindering where you could be, or how far you could be? People say, I'm just giving myself grace. Every time somebody says that, I get frustrated. Because you have to ask yourself, am I being hard on myself, or am I being too easy on myself? Because if you don't push you, who's going to push you? We always waiting for this opportunity, like the opportunity. I'm waiting for the opportunity. I'm waiting for the opportunity. But what opportunity are we waiting for? Sometimes you have to go into places and you have to say, listen, I need this job today. And I need this job because of X, Y, Z thing. And can you give me the job? When I was when people call me for jobs, or when they send me messages for jobs, I'm so straight up with them. They either talk to me or they don't. Like they either gonna say, listen, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need from you. And if this is not what it is, then thank you for the opportunity. When clients call and I'm doing discovery call, let's get to the business. Okay, tell me about yourself. Okay, this is what you need. I'm sorry, I cannot help you. So you have to ask yourself, am I really giving myself grace? And we listen to grace like grace is real, but grace without responsibility creates stagnation. So now you become stagnant because you're not giving yourself the responsibility behind it. If self-love never challenges you, never corrects you, never asks you to grow, that's not love. That is not love. And that goes for people in your life. If people say that they love you, then they should be challenging you. They should be correcting you at some point in your life. And they should never stunt your growth. They should make sure, like, I'm going to the next level. You're going to the next level. You're going to the next level with me. We're going. I'm tired. No. I'm giving myself grace. No. No. We have decided that self-love is like this comfort zone for us to pretend to be healing. But let's clear something up. Compassion says, I understand why you're here. Compassion says, you don't have to move. A lot of people confuse the two. Healing is not saying, healing is not staying where the pain feels familiar. Healing is becoming strong enough to move forward. And this is where we get lost. If every season or every reset turns into a retreat, then it's not rest. It's not rest, it's avoidance. And a lot of times we will say, I'm just resting, I'm just taking a moment, I'm just taking a breather, I'm just doing this, I'm just doing that. You're making excuses, you're procrastinating, you're avoiding. And I get it. Sometimes it's like I have to go into that space. Sometimes I need to take a break. But be honest with yourself. I'm taking a break because I feel like giving up. I'm taking a break because I don't know what the next move should be. And from there, that's when you start talking to yourself. Accountability is not harsh, it's self-respect. Every time you keep your word to yourself first, every time you keep your word to yourself, follow through when it's uncomfortable, stop repeating the same excuses, that's when you're telling yourself, like, I love me. I love me. I love me. Because I'm keeping my word to myself. A few years ago, we were saying things like, I'm about to stand on business. I'm about to stand on business. And I was thinking, like, man, so we standing on what business are we standing on? I'm a wordy person, so I like words. So I'm like, well, what business are we standing on? Are we standing on business about who we are in our next level, in our truths? Or are we standing on business with aggression, telling people like, you're not going to play with me? They know that already. But do you know how it is or how it feels to truly love you? Do you know that part? Do you know how it feels to follow through for yourself when things are uncomfortable? Do you know? Do you know what it feels like to stop repeating the same excuses day after day, morning after morning, moment after moment, second after second? Do you know? And that's the question, like, do you know? I value myself too much to keep sabotaging my future. And sometimes you have to say that to yourself every single day in the morning when you wake up, and say it out loud. Say to yourself, I value myself too much to keep sabotaging my future. I value myself too much to keep doing that. Self-love doesn't say it's okay to stay here forever. It doesn't say that. But for whatever reason, we go back to those parts where we start avoiding things. We go back to those spaces where we start making excuses. And then we say, well, I love myself, so I'm comfortable where I am. I'm comfortable where I am. I'm comfortable in this space. I'm comfortable here right now. And then we don't do it anymore. We just stay in that space. Self-love says you deserve better than this pattern. Because we got to break out of the patterns, y'all. We got to break out of the things that we keep repeating over and over. And we know it. And then we get upset with ourselves and we get frustrated with ourselves. And we're like, man, I keep doing that thing over and over and over and over again. And I keep getting frustrated with myself. And then you don't even become more conscious enough to say, wait a minute, I'm getting ready to do that thing again. And then stop yourself and redirect yourself like you would redirect somebody else. So if you really think about it, we should be standing on business about ourselves first instead of trying to make somebody stand on business about us when we don't even stand on a business with ourselves. It doesn't make sense. People avoid accountability because you know what it does? It removes excuses. And we all be making excuses. I'm even guilty of it sometimes. It removes the excuses. Accountability exposes habits. And everybody got some habits that they probably could get rid of. Some things that we repeatedly do over and over again, knowing that, man, I really shouldn't do this. I really shouldn't be thinking like this. I really shouldn't go there. We do that. Accountability requires consistency. Consistency. And being consistent is so hard. It is so hard. Because that means you have to show up at the same time or around the same time every day and do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And it gets frustrating. And it's not like me. You can get bored. I'll be like, oh, I'm tired of doing this. And it's the truth, though. I feel like, okay, this getting old. I need to do something else. But I have to tell myself, like, listen, girl, get it together. You got to be consistent. You got to keep moving. You got to keep doing it. You got to move forward. You have an opportunity. And if you want to change something, if you want to change that habit, or you want to do better, you got to be consistent. People avoid accountability because it demands honesty. And I know, like, y'all at home and the radios, the people on the radio listen to the radio, they on 101.5. Y'all at home, everybody's at home, right? I can't see y'all. But when I said people avoid accountability because it demands honesty, raise your hand to yourself if you know you lie to yourself. Seriously. If you know that sometimes you be lying to yourself and you be making all these things to do and then making excuses for reasons why you didn't do it, people will avoid accountability for these reasons. It's easy to say, like, I'm healing. It's easy to say, I'm not avoiding discipline. But when you really think about it, right? When you really sit down and you take a breath, right? Take the breath with me and you breathe. You'll say, you know what? I do be avoiding stuff. I do be procrastinating. I do be like, I'm healing and I'm just facade. Like, we really do this. And I'm not saying this to make you feel bad. I'm saying this to bring it to your conscious, to the front part of your mind, so you can start really thinking about it. So you're no longer being accountable to others or making others be accountable to you without you being accountable to you first. Because it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. We all want to force accountability and alignment and all these things on other people. But I always tell people, like, all the demands that you're putting on someone else, go back and see if those demands, are you following those demands? Are you following those same characters? What you require for someone, are you doing above and beyond that requirement? I don't know, you know. But you have to ask yourself that. And accountability is forcing alignment for you. But alignment requires effort. It requires effort. And sometimes the hardest thing for us to do is to put the effort in. It's hard to put the effort in. Most people choose emotional comfort over emotional maturity. Most people do that. I want to be emotionally comfortable. I want to feel good. I want to walk outside and I wanted to go, emotional comfort over the maturity. The maturity is what gets you to the next level, because maturity makes you look at life in a different light. Comfort says you've been through enough. Don't push yourself. We all been through things. But maturity says you've healed enough to grow. You are capable now. Two different perspectives, two different mindsets. Like I said, comfort says, and I'm going to repeat it, comfort says you've been through enough. You're capable now. Or comfort says you've been through enough. Don't push yourself. But then maturity says you've healed enough to grow. Now you're capable. Like, you can do this thing now. I know before it was comfortable. I know before you just wanted to feel good. But now it's time for the next level. It's time to get out of spaces where we get so comfortable, where we're making excuses for what we should be doing instead of just doing what we should be doing. I know sometimes you get frustrated. It gets boring being consistent, showing up every day, and showing up every day for yourself. Because we'll be quick to show up for somebody else. We are 100% going to show up for somebody else. Our friends, our family, our children, lovers, whoever. But when it comes that time when you have to sit with yourself in a closed-in room and you have to be silent and you have to listen to yourself, that's when things start to get crazy. That's when it starts to get frustrating. That's when people start avoiding. That's when they start giving up. That's when they start saying, I'm going to have grace with myself. I'm going to just take my time. For what? What are you taking your time for? I'll tell y'all a story. Today I had a young artist here at my house, and he was looking for management. And so with everybody that I meet, whether they're looking for management, they're looking for mindset or whatever, I always have to try them because I want to see how bad do they want it. Because I know I'm a pusher. You know, like, if you want to go to the next level, we're going to the next level. You definitely going to the next level. But you have to want it too. And so this young man, he's sitting down and he's talking to me and he's telling me his goals and everything with his music. And I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. So I'm listening to all of that, everything that he said and what he knows. And I'm listening. I love it. I love it. Very smart, very educated when it comes to music and willing to learn new things. Great. So as he's talking, I'm texting people. Like, I'm texting people that I know, like in the music industry. I'm texting people, and not even on the big level right now, but just on the level of, like, let me see if you're going to get out there. Let me see if you really want this really bad. So I'm texting. I'm like, okay, they got this going on. They got this going on. The whole time I'm like looking at them. This is happening. That's happening. And at first he was like, man, it's going to be rushed. Opportunity does not wait for rush. Opportunity does not, like, when the opportunity is there, guess what? Sometimes the opportunity happens and you got to brush your teeth in the car. Sometimes the opportunity happens and you have to walk there. And by the time you get there, you got to wipe the sweat off and try to spray something so you can go in and shake opportunity's hand. At some point, we have to stop avoiding things. At some point, we have to display more self-love for ourselves than we display for anybody else. At some point. I'm not going to tell you, like, it's easy. But once I sat here with that young man and he was making an excuse, and I was telling him, well, you know, this is the music industry. You know, sometimes you have to just go. Like, sometimes you can't go to the mall and you can't find a new fit, and sometimes you got to wear something in your closet. And sometimes, you know, like, them people don't know that that's an old outfit. They have no clue. All they know is that you're supposed to be bringing something to the table, and something to the table is your music. And so finally, he like pulled it together. I called another young man. The young man came over and talked to him, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it." Good, good. So that means you want it. You completed a chapter, meaning like you didn't let nothing hold you back from displaying that self-love to yourself. And displaying that self-love to yourself is meaning that you decided to do something for you, something that is like very uncomfortable that you never did before, but you're gonna put your neck out there and you're gonna do it. And that's how you stump goals. That is how you stump goals. If your self-love never asks you, like, what's next, right? If the love that you have for yourself never asks you what's next, you're not evolving. You're looping. Because every day we wake up and we get on this internet, right? And we scroll and we looking at other people's stuff and we smile at their pictures and we clapping for their success. And that's all good. But when you wake up, do you look yourself in the mirror and smile? Do you clap for your success? You have to ask yourself that. Sometimes you have to put yourself first, because you will stand around and you will watch people do the things that you want to do because you're practicing avoidance, you're practicing excuses, procrastination. You cannot affirm your way out of habits. You refuse to change. And I don't know why we think we can do this, but we think that we can do affirmation after affirmation after affirmation, prayer after prayer after prayer. So I can give y'all two ways. You're doing your affirmations, you're doing your manifestations, but then you decide not to change. That doesn't make sense. You can read every scripture in the Bible, draw not to me and I to you, and this, that, and the other, but then you don't really want to change. It's just words. It's just words. You have to decide, like, okay, I love myself this much. Yes, affirmations are powerful. Meditation is powerful. It is. It is crazy not to change. Journaling is powerful. But without behavioral change, they become emotional band-aids. And that's the space that we're in right now. There is no behavioral change. We just putting stabs on things. We putting stabs on things for us. Not even Neosporin, we putting salve on it. We going outside and we getting dirt and we putting it on there and then we brushing it off saying, ooh, I think I'm gonna heal. No. That's not how it goes. If your life doesn't match your affirmation, the issue isn't belief, it's follow through. And I say it again, if your life does not match your affirmation, that it's not belief, it's the follow through. You know you can do it. Follow through. Follow through. Keep going because you can do this. Real love will interrupt you. It'll interrupt you. It'll interrupt the stuff that you try to avoid. It will say, stop lying to yourself. You ever sit there and like make all these excuses and then you say to yourself like, stop lying. That's not what's really happening. That's not what's going on. You ever say to yourself, this behavior doesn't align with me anymore. You ever say to yourself, you know better than that? I don't know about y'all, but I talk to myself out loud because sometimes I got to really talk to myself. And sometimes you have to really talk to yourself in order to get away from all of those things that are keeping you back. Because most times, like I tell people, you are your worst enemy. The majority of the time is you against you. Nobody's against you. You against you. You against you. Self-love isn't always gentle. Sometimes it's firm. Sometimes it's structured. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. And I say it again. Sometimes it's firm. Sometimes it's structured. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. But it's always honest. It's always honest. No matter how you try to change it, flip it, rub it down, it's always honest. One of the most dangerous phrases people use today is, this is just who I am. This is just who I am. I'm guilty of saying that. This is just who I am. No, that's who you've been repeating. It's who you've been repeating. People will say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Why? If you consistently show that dog the same thing over and over again, they'll learn it. So that's not the truth. So you can learn new things. You can become different. You can do things differently. It's about choice. It's about you deciding, like, I don't want to keep repeating these cycles over and over and over again. Identity is not fixed. It's practiced. It's not fixed. Like, you're not stuck in that identity. You practice those things. Everything that you do, you learn. You learn those things. Some things, I always tell people, the apple don't fall far from the tree. So some things you got from your parents. Me too. But everything else, you learn those behaviors. So then if you learn those behaviors, why do you think that you can't change those behaviors? By learning something different. Self-love gives you permission to evolve, not excuse to stay stuck. That's like loving who you are. Self-love is not always like giving. Like every time I see like self-love stuff, I'm always like, man, they having a good time with self-love. I be thinking like, man, I'm like beating myself over here, proving to myself that I love me. I'm uncomfortable. I'm staying up to 2 and 3 o'clock at night and then getting back up at 6 o'clock. I love me. I love me enough to push me to go to the next level. That's not when people supporting me. That's just me saying, I want to go to the next level. What is it saying? True, we never learn the healthier version. Yes. Yes. And so that's the level that I want to see people at. I want to see them at the healthier version of themselves. The healthier version of themselves. Because that version of you that's stuck has gotten you nowhere. You've just been repeating stuff over and over and over again, cycle after cycle after cycle, downfall after downfall after downfall, frustration after frustration. And it could go on and on. We could do this for another 40 minutes. We could do it for another 40 minutes. Self-love gives you that permission to evolve. Here's what accountable self-love looks like. Non-negotiables and routines. I talk about non-negotiables and routines because I feel like we give non-negotiables to other people, but we don't give them to ourselves. So there has to be some things that you write down on a piece of paper and you say, this, and this, and this. I'm no longer doing it anymore. And you take that piece of paper or index card and you tape it somewhere, a bunch of somewhere else, not just one somewhere, a bunch of somewhere else. Tape it a bunch of somewhere else so you remember I'm not doing these things anymore. And don't be putting anything that has to do with someone else on them. Talk to yourself first. We can't push people to treat us a certain way when we don't treat ourselves with that same respect and admiration and love. And so when we're not treating ourselves with that, how are we pushing other people to do that for us? And then you get mad at them because they're not doing how we feel they should be treated. You're not even treating yourself like that. Non-negotiables and routines. Routines are so important when you're trying to transition and change your life and discover your true identity. They are important. Set yourself up and don't let no one disturb you. The biggest thing for people with me is the fact that I don't answer my phone at certain times. I don't answer my phone because there are certain routines that I have don't want to be distracted from. I'll talk to you when I'm done. That's it. I'll talk to you when I'm done. Because if I don't stay on this routine, I can't get to the level that I need to be at. Routines and non-negotiables. And then you got clear boundaries. Clear boundaries for yourself. We don't learn, the whole world has learned how to set boundaries for other people, but what about the boundaries for yourself? What are some clear boundaries that you would set for yourself so that you can get to the next level? Because the whole thing is about, I don't like repeating this cycle of life that I've been repeating. I want to transition. I want to change. I want to do better. So what are the non-negotiables and routines you're going to start? And then what are the clear boundaries you're going to have with yourself? And then start tracking your progress. I know some people don't write in journals because they're like, I'm not a big writer. I don't want to do that. Text it in your messages to yourself. Nobody has to know you're doing it. Have your little clips in them. Today, I felt like, but I'm just telling y'all some of my stuff that go in there. I felt awful. I felt like I did not achieve the goals that I could have achieved because I allowed myself to be distracted by XYZ thing. And I actually write that stuff down because I want to speak the truth to myself. And that is displaying that self-love. Now, this one is a big one. Following through, even when bored. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm going to self-disclose. Today, I messed up. I was supposed to be taking a training. It was boring, and I was falling asleep. And I got up again. I was looking at the training. And I was like, I'm not even going to do this today. I'm just going to do it tomorrow. And then by the time I like quickened in my spirit, like, girl, you just got bored. You need to keep going. I was like, okay. All right. So guess what I got to do after I do the show? I got to get back on the training. Follow through. Even when you're bored, push yourself. Don't be telling yourself like, I got to have grace for myself. Why? Why give yourself grace to do what? Follow through. And then choosing long-term peace over short-term comfort. And we do that a lot. We would rather be comfortable right now and be in chaos in 6 months. And we know it. Like, we know it. We know, like, if I don't complete this thing right now, I'm going to be frustrated next week or next month. Something's going to happen. This is this and this and this. All this kind of stuff, we already know what's going to happen. But yet we'll still stick in that place. We'll stick there. Like, all right, I might do it. I might not. That's what happens. And I'm not talking about perfection. I'm not talking about being perfect. I'm talking about just participation in your own life, participation in your own dreams, participation in your own abilities and gifts. Like I say, we will scroll, 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 scroll. We'll be smiling, laughing, everything. Before you know it, 6 hours went by and you still scrolling. And then you thinking about, dang, I want to be like this person. I want to have this. But if you scroll for 2 hours, you probably could. I'm playing, but I'm serious. Not perfection. We will make what New Year's just came. Well, my New Year's starts in March this year. But New Year's just came. Everybody was making resolutions. And then like maybe the 5th day into the new year, people start posting like, I'm gonna try that next year because I done already messed up this year. So if you don't succeed on Monday, you try it again on Tuesday. If you don't succeed on Tuesday, you try it again on Wednesday. I'm not saying like transitioning, becoming that true identity of who you are is easy to achieve. It took me doggone almost 15 years. Almost 15 years to get to this space. So I'm not going to tell you it's easy. I'm not going to tell you that everything is going to be sweet and nice and everything's going to work out. And when you walk outside, the clouds are going to move away from the sun and everything's going to be like, I'm not going to tell you that. But I'm going to tell you that it's doable. That you can really do this. That you can really stir something up in your life and decide and just take these small steps. Just try these. Create some non-negotiables and routines. Create some clear boundaries and track your progress. Follow through even when you're bored, follow through. And then tell yourself, I would rather have peace than chaos. So I need to do this now. I don't need to wait for someone to give me an opportunity. I need to take the opportunity. All right, y'all, take a breath because that was a lot, right? That was a lot. It's always a lot. This is my first time doing it, two live shows at one time. So if I didn't get to the comments, y'all, please excuse me. Thank you for tapping into 101.9, 101.5 Indie Radio every Tuesday at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. You will hear me, Zipmouth Motivation, and the Zipmouth Motivation Show. So I got some ask. These are some things I want you to ask yourself. The first thing I want you to ask yourself is, where have I been where in my life have I been avoiding things and calling it self-care? Ask yourself that. Where in my life have I been avoiding things and calling it self-care? And then I want you to ask yourself, what habits keep repeating because it's comfortable? So what habits are you repeating because it's comfortable? What habits are you keep repeating because it's comfortable? And then I want you to ask yourself, what would loving myself honestly require? And I'm not talking about somebody else doing something to make you feel like you loved. I'm talking about what would loving yourself honestly require? What does it require? And I want you to sit with that. Don't write those things down and then try to come up with quick answers. I want you to take question by question and I want you to think about it for a second. Where have I been, where in my life have I been avoiding things and calling it self-care? What habits keep repeating because it's comfortable? And what would loving myself honestly require? Because in reality, growth begins with truth. If you can sit with those questions and you can start to be honest with yourself, and I mean like honest, like cutthroat honest with yourself. And from those questions, the answers that you get will help you with your non-negotiable routines. Like, these are the things that I'm doing every single day. Nothing is going to stop me from doing these things for myself. Not a phone call, not a person mad at me, no, nothing. These are my non-negotiable routines. Those questions will help you with clear boundaries. And these are clear boundaries with yourself. This is not clear boundaries with somebody else, because you require people to have boundaries, but then you don't have, like, you can't require stuff that you ain't giving yourself. And then I want you to follow through with whatever you come up with to help you get to the next level. And like, the next level doesn't have to be like this super jump. You know, like when you think next level, sometimes people think like, I gotta make this super. The next level could be something as small as going to the gym every day or every 3 days consistently. And even when it gets boring and you don't know what to do in there, you still go. The next level could be something as simple as getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You don't know why you want to get up at 5, but you know you want to get up at 5, and you're getting frustrated with yourself because you keep trying to get up at 5, but you get up at 5 and the alarm goes off, but then you hit the snooze button. Don't hit the snooze button. Next level. Next level is not always like this big leap. Sometimes it's getting rid of those little aggravating habits that we have, that we constantly do, that keeps us going backwards. That could be your next level, is getting rid of those little things first. Because once you start conquering those little things, those little bitty habits, those little frustrations, those little things, that's when the big things start seeming achievable to you. That's when you start telling yourself like, yeah, I could do this. When I graduated from high school, that wasn't an achievement for me. It was a responsibility. It was a responsibility. The achievement for me was getting my bachelor's degree. That was the achievement. Because it took so long in my mind, and it probably didn't, but in my mind, it took so long. I knew I wanted to get my master's degree, but I also knew that the master's degree program was only 18 months. Whereas my bachelor's degree, they was talking about 4 to 6 years. I felt like I was doing a bid. And that's how it felt. But then when I got my master's degree, I felt like, man, this is easy. I could do this again. Should I go get another master's? 18 months? I could do 18 months. But it was the little goals that made me feel like, all right, yeah, I could do this. I can do this. So let me leave you all with this. Loving yourself means refusing to abandon yourself for anybody, anything. Refusing to abandon yourself. It means correcting what hurts you. I'm not talking about having somebody correct what hurts you, but you correcting it. Because you do know that sometimes people are not accountable for the things that they done to hurt you. And you have to ask yourself, can I live with that? Or am I going to hold on to this thing for so long and so tight? I don't want to let it go because it's comfortable. And they've been with me this whole time, holding on to this pain and this frustration instead of correcting that thing within you. Because they might not be correcting themselves, but you correct you. Loving yourself means refusing to abandon yourself. It means changing what limits you. Changing, like transitioning, getting away from the things that limit you from making that small goal. There go your non-negotiables. People love to call me early in the morning. I think like they just wait until it's like 5 o'clock and they decide like, I'm gonna call Demasha. It's frustrating for me Because I'm thinking, like, who talks on the phone at this time of the morning? What is the purpose for you calling me in the morning? Because I should be preparing myself for the day, right? So now those are my non-negotiables. If you decide to call me in the morning, I'm just going to decide not to answer the phone because I need to prepare myself for the day. I'm changing what limits me. What limits me is people calling me early in the morning. And you have to figure out what limits you, what limits your level up. Loving yourself means refusing to abandon yourself. It means holding yourself to a standard that protects your future. Holding yourself to a standard that protects your future, meaning like, I'm going to the next level. So I know if I'm going to the next level, I can't go here, I can't do this. Oh, I love you. But listen, cousin, I can't do that. I can't, you have to be able to make those decisions. Self-love, although we see it, like all over the internet and things like that, it's like they want to make self-love seem like self-love is this thing of uh-oh. Hold on, y'all. I don't know what happened. So they want to make self-love seem like it's this really soft, like this really soft space. But it's not. It's intentional. Self-love is intentional. So it's not going to be soft all the time, and it's not going to be comfortable all the time. And it's going to hold you accountable. That's how you love yourself. And accountability isn't punishment. It's devotion. It's devotion. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, who am I devoted to? Myself or others? Because we'll love somebody, we will love on people, love on people, love on people, and then look ourselves in the mirror and say, like, you're disgusting. You'll never be nothing. We will say the most harshest things to ourselves. Self-love, like I said, isn't soft, it's intentional. And accountability isn't punishment, it's devotion. So this is the Zipmouth Motivation Show, where we stop lying to ourselves and start building lives we can stand on. We are not lying to ourselves anymore. We are building something that we can stand on. Remember, like I said, tap into 101.5 Indie Radio every Tuesday at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. where you will hear the Zipmouth Motivation Show. Internet radio, like I said, 101.5. Tap into the show, y'all. Tap in. And I'm sorry, it's not indie radio anymore. It's Philly Vibe. 101.5 Philly Vibe. Tap in, tap in. I appreciate y'all as usual. I love y'all. I respect y'all. As always, follow me on every single platform. Zipmouth Motivation on every platform. Coach Demasha Katrina on Instagram. Let's see, Facebook, Demasha K on Facebook. Definitely follow me there. If you have some questions, and if you want to come on the show, you are welcome to come on the show and do your thing, do your 1, 2, 3, 4, and talk about whatever it is that you feel is on your chest that you want to get out into the world. Again, not Indie 101.5. I forgot the radio station name change. It's Philly Vibe 101.5. I appreciate you. I love y'all. Until next time.